Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Friday evening, May 20th, 2022. I am Salad Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk.
The world turns around you. This heart of my soul beats only for you. Do you know you are everything? You're the flowers of the spring. You're full moon in the dark. You're my heart and my soul. Do you know you are everything? Of the spring.
Okay, well, I am going to get started. All right, so let's stop the music here and welcome people who are watching on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. So today I want to talk about sitcoms, sitcoms and society. Have sitcoms changed society? What sitcoms were some of the best? So as like anything else in life, things evolve. And when TV first came out in the late 40s, we had different TV shows. Of course, not as many as we have now, but we had something called sitcoms, and sitcoms were supposed to make you laugh. Some of them were family oriented, some of them not so much. But when sitcoms first came out, most of them were the family oriented ones where you can sit back and have a laugh with your family. There was always a moral in the story. Um, at the end, it was always this feel good thing. You know, uh, you had laugh tracks before you had live audiences. Um, when you look at something like I Love Lucy, which 60 years later is still extremely popular. And that's another question to ask. Why do you have some sitcoms that will last and others that don't? Why do some sitcoms endure the test of time? Why is it that you have generations of people growing up on a sitcom like I Love Lucy? Where when you look at it in terms of fashion, the cars they drove, their hairstyles, um, everything was different. But yet, you can turn on I Love Lucy to today and you can relate to it and you can just laugh. The same thing with the Andy Griffith show. You have shows like that just endure the test of time. So I ask, why are some shows able to endure where others are not? Why do some sitcoms come and go? They don't even last a season. They barely, get past 4 episodes and they're canceled. Why were sitcoms cut down from doing, 38 episodes back in the 50s and 60s to 26, and now you're lucky if you get 18. Most episodes are 13 and that's it. Was it greed? Was it that we had more channels out there, so therefore there were more sitcoms, and everyone had to make space in time slots? Why were some sitcoms, why do some sitcoms last and others don't? Why is it that one person on a sitcom, um, they tend to become the breakout star? Like when a sitcom first starts, on that very first episode, do you know who the stars are going to be? Do you know who that breakout person is going to be? And the next thing you know, that person either has their own show or their own spinoff, or maybe they take the leap and they go to the movies. And during all this, has society changed? Has society changed in some way? Hello, Dos. Welcome. Has society changed in some way? Welcome, Power Girl. You know, um, okay, society is always changing. Yes, it is. So again, I ask, when you have sitcoms that have again stood the test of time, why do those sitcoms last? Why are we still laughing? Like I said, I Love Lucy. Why are we still laughing at I Love Lucy 60 years later? I mean, I turn on that show and some of it is so extremely corny, but it's funny. And you can watch the same episode over and over and over and you can laugh. But some shows, you just watch them once, and if they come on again, you're okay. Yeah, I saw this episode, but some episodes, even though you've seen it 100 times, you tend to want to watch them. Okay, so Doss says because funny is funny no matter when it took place. Okay, Doss. So let me ask this. I don't know how old you are, and I'm not asking, but would you say that some of the Welcome American Icon? Would you say that some of the sitcoms that were made back in um, the 50s, 60s are better than the ones that are made now? And again, I'm going to once again reference I Love Lucy. I'm going to reference Andy Griffith. Okay, Doss says yes and no. Okay. Would you say that the older sitcoms, and I'm going to say, well, I'm going to say the black, I'm going to say the black and white for right now. Would you say that those sitcoms tend to uh, have more morals compared to the ones now? And what I mean by that is you can use the word bitch in a sitcom. You can use, a lot of nasty words, but you can't use the F bomb. You are still getting beat for the F bomb, but in a sitcom you can use the word bitch and people will laugh. But 30 years ago, you couldn't say the word bitch. If you said the word bitch, you were taken off the air. Your show was taken down. So what has changed? Has society changed that much that we allow that? Well, welcome, Ziller. And let me ask this. Oh, you're 97. Okay, I'm assuming 97 is your age. So let me ask this: Has have sitcoms changed society, or has society changed sitcoms? So, what do you think? And if anybody wants to call in, you guys are more than welcome to call in. So, in fact, I forgot to take my phone off of, so I don't get any phone calls. So, um, so sitcoms mimic society. Hmm. So, okay, so then let me ask this. So, at the end of the 60s, 67, 68, when we had the Vietnam War, what was going on, and you still had, Mayberry RFD was on, and you had the Munsters and um, Gilligan's Island. Um, then things started to shift. Then you got things like Happy Days. When Happy Days came on in the 70s. You had the Brady Bunch that came on in the 70s. You had the Partridge Family that came on in the 70s. Okay. So we were coming out of the Vietnam War. So were the sitcoms adjusting to society? And at the same time, you had the hour-long dramas that came on that were more gritty, as opposed to, you really didn't have that many hour-long dramas in the 60s. I mean, you had things like the Untouchables, whatever, but most of the dramas and the sitcoms were um, just 30 minutes. So Ziller, welcome.
Oh, hey, thank you, Solid. Yeah, I totally agree. Especially Family Matters and what'd you say the Brady Bunch? I think that helped. Because it was
Well,
funny.
well,
So, oh,
Family
sorry.
Matters came out in the 80s.
Oh, well, okay. Then, sorry. Then the Brady Bunch. Then, sorry.
But okay, so Dawes says that sitcoms mimic society. So do you think that you look at the Partridge Family, the Brady Bunch, the sitcoms of the 70s, like the sitcoms of the 70s were just, I mean, they were still like, hokey and corny, whatever, but they were not, but they were, had a little bit more grit to it than the 60s. And then you get to the 80s with your Family Matters and what have you, when you had Alex P. Keaton, and he's this conservative, and he's walking around his suit, whatever. um Society changed again, or again, did the sitcoms change society, or society change the sitcoms?
Uh, I th- I'd say both,
Okay, so
maybe.
what sitcom do you think mimics society, using Dawson's term?
I don't know. Um,
Well, what is the oldest sitcom that you remember growing up?
and that would be the Brady Bunch.
Okay, and is there any particular reason why you liked the Brady Bunch, or you didn't like it?
It was just funny, and to me, I mean, I liked it, and because I watched it with my my granny, it was fun,
Okay, now
and I
Power
learned
Girl said,
too.
okay, so but so sitcoms had a moral, right? For the most part, at the end of the story, or end of the show, you had that moral, like, you're always supposed to share, or you're always nice to people, or it always had that moral at the end, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Power Girl says I think DOS is right, and DOS is coming up. Welcome DOS. Welcome DOS. Okay, I
How's it
don't
going?
see. Hey, hey. So
Am I here?
yeah, you are.
I'm here.
You are.
Nice. So anytime you take a TV show, especially like sitcoms, I go back to my point I made. You're mimicking society. So the point of the sitcom and the show is to make money. So to make money, you're gonna look at what is going on in culture, pop culture, and all that, and you're gonna mimic that, and you're gonna try to use that as a formula to make a show and entertain the people, because that's where you're gonna get your audience.
Okay, so then let me ask this: at what point then, like I said, did the word bitch become acceptable in a
Well,
sitcom? But
it's
you can't
always
use the F word. But you can't use the F word.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Okay.
It's just the evolution of things. Um, let's
But
see.
people are
You could
dropping the
almost
F bomb. But people are dropping the F bomb left and right. But you still can't say it on TV. They will still beep you no matter what show you're on. You're going to get beeped.
well, that's actually not correct.
Well,
If
okay,
you
unless
go
it's
back, if
cable.
you go
Okay,
back to the show,
cable.
no, actually, if you go back, do you remember the show 24? Jack Bauer.
Yes, yes.
So they actually used the F word in one
Did they say?
episode.
Did they?
In one episode, um, in order for a movie like to, I, I might not be correct here, but if you say more than one F word in a movie, it automatically becomes rated R. You could use it once in a PG-13 movie to keep that PG-13 to draw
Mm-hmm.
more
Mm-hmm.
crowd.
Well, we're talking. Okay, so
But
when they use it in that one,
all it is it goes back to people pushing the envelope. You keep pushing the envelope. You keep you until it becomes acceptable, and that's what happened. So even to say like "damn it" back in the day was
but do
unheard.
you really? Okay, but do you think the word? You think the F bomb and the B word? Well, I've already said it, so I'll say it again, bitch. Do you
Fucking
think
bitch.
that do you think that it's acceptable?
Um, in certain circumstances, yes. I don't think I want my kids turning on, the cartoons. And well, actually, no, I think about that. No,
No,
I think there's a
seriously, but
place for it.
listen.
There's a certain audience for it, and there's you're just catering to certain demographics.
Okay, then let me ask this. When I was growing up, between 7 and 9 p.m. was considered family hour. And that's when the Brady Bunch came on. That's when Partridge Family, what have you, all that stuff came on. Then at 9 o'clock, you had Starsky and Hutch, and yes, I am dating myself. You had all of those other the more gritty shows, came on, and you did not hear any cursing. Now, even on cable, there's no family hour anymore. It's like everyone is cursing or saying something that technically kids probably shouldn't hear.
Yep. So,
So no, I'm just saying. I
well,
mean, why do you think that?
what
Why do you
you,
think?
you
I
you
mean,
you know you can't really compare back then in the way TV and shows are to right now. I mean, if you're looking at like 2022, it's almost like these shows are becoming extinct. They got to compete with YouTube and just all these other videos. So they need to push the envelope to get people to talk about it. Does
but
that make any sense?
yes, no, it does make sense. But do you think that if you had like ABC,
Toodles.
let's just say ABC never said anything, the F bomb did anything, but they were more like the 70s, with the, Brady Bunch and what have you. Do you think a channel or a station like that would make it? Do you think that they would be out of business, or do you think
Wait a
that they
minute.
would be forced to change their format?
Wait a minute. Start this over again. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
If you had a station like ABC where all they did was play the family goody stuff, never cursed,
Yeah.
never did anything, do you think they would make it, as opposed to having to change their format
No,
just to survive?
of course they'd have to change their format if they're
So you
the
don't
only
think
ones
that?
doing it. You you got to keep up with what the other guy's doing, and if the other guy's doing that and they're having success at it, then you got to do it. If you're having success doing what you're doing with your, GPG rated family hour shit, then stick with that formula if it works.
Okay. All right. So then let me ask this. This is a question I asked before you came on. Back in the 50s and 60s, episodes would go like 38. They would have 38 episodes, and then they would take a break. Then it was cut down to like 30. Then it was cut down to like 26. Now you're lucky if you get 13 episodes. Do you think they did that? One, I know they did it, one, because of money, but do you think that we don't, why do you think that we don't have that many episodes anymore?
Well, because people nowadays have such a short attention span. Again, I guess this will go back to like when you're looking at like social media, YouTube's, TikTok, all that bullshit. Everybody's attention span is 5 to 10 minutes, and then move on to the next one. So it's really tough nowadays. If you're going to get a show, you're going to start a show, especially on a network right now, to compete with that. And that's just the way society is changing. So now entertainment is going to cater to that movement and that change. And it goes
Okay.
back to what I said. It goes back to what I said, about um, the sitcoms mimic society or entertainment mimic society. They use that as their inspiration to make money.
So why do you have a show like uh, I Love Lucy that's been on for 60 years, and it just lasts and it lasts and it lasts?
Well, it,
People,
it
every,
does with a certain demographic, but how long is it going to last? I mean, you
well, I
still
mean,
watch it. Do you think
right?
some? Do you think
But
some
you,
25-year-old kid is watching it?
I think possibly. I mean, because
Maybe a
I mean,
few, but not many. I mean, everything has a shelf life, and
yeah,
um,
but considering how, but look at I Love Lucy has been replayed over and over in countries and what have you, and it's like generations grow up with I Love Lucy, just like Seinfeld. I mean, Seinfeld, has been off the air for almost 20 years, but you turn it on and people are still laughing. So why do
right.
those
Well, you're
shows?
talking you're talking about two groundbreaking sitcoms in history in different eras that again catered to the times.
But they're still catering to some of the times now.
Not much.
Mm, okay, all right. So
So
why do you think? No, go on.
no, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead. Make
no,
your
no.
point.
I was just going to ask, why do you think some sitcoms make it? And I'm saying either from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. Why do you think some sitcoms make it and some of them don't? And it seems
Well,
like
because
that
that's easy.
now.
Because some of them suck.
Okay, but you have some sitcoms where, or even shows. I mean, even shows. It's like the show has been on. They've only had like 3 episodes. It's like that was, they're canceling it. It seems like that
Yeah.
back then they gave it time to find the audience and people to watch it. Whatever.
Right,
Now
but
it's
you
like
weren't
after two
you
episodes, it's like, oh, sorry.
back then you weren't competing with 1,000 different competitors.
So, do you think that if and I understand exactly what you're saying, but do you think that that episode that people tend to think sucks could be that hidden gem that if they let it stay on just a
Well,
little bit longer, then
absolutely,
wow, this is
absolutely.
actually good.
Well, absolutely, because Seinfeld was almost canceled after its first season,
Right.
but
Yep.
somebody said, "Hold on, let's give this a chance." You know, sometimes people don't get that chance. Well, too bad. Life ain't fair. Oh shit.
All right. So, growing up, what was your favorite sitcom?
Um, shit. I don't know. I can't. I guess it changes with age.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
obviously in the 70s, late 70s, I was a little kid, so I'm watching fucking Tom and Jerry. Um, 80s, jeez, I can't even remember the 80s.
okay, Tuttle
I
says
don't think I
married
watched. I didn't
with
think I watched
children.
much. What's that? Married with
I'm
Children,
looking with Tuttle's. Yeah, I'm looking
freaking
what Tuttle
great.
said. Married
Yeah,
with children. Yeah, that and that's
that's
another
that.
one.
That's
It's a
one of the few that
generational
I could
thing,
still watch.
right? And that's been off the air for like what, almost 30 years,
I don't know. They probably had their last season in like
25.
91,
Yeah,
92.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know because uh I was talking to someone else, and we were talking about the Jackson Five, and we were talking about the Osmonds, and I love the Osmonds. And I was, and I made a comment to this person. I said, if the Osmonds had moved to L.A., would they have been the same group that they were? Would they have been? Would L.A. have messed them up the way it tends to mess up a lot of people?
God, I'd like to think so. But then again, I never watched the Osmonds, so I'm not really familiar with them except for the chick there doing the Weight Watchers commercials.
Oh, Marie Osmond. I like the Osmonds. So I mean, I don't know. When I was thinking about doing this episode, I was doing it. I was uh watching um
Seinfeld.
I love no, I was watching I Love Lucy. I've never liked Seinfeld. My husband, he watches it all the time, and he's downstairs just cracking up, and I'm like, that's it's not funny to me. but but
Does he watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
he does watch that, and he also watches what's the one who was used to be a Scientologist, and then she left. Her husband was like a UPS driver on the show or something.
The
Um
King of Queens.
the King of Queens. Now that's funny, but I'm watching I Love Lucy, and I'm cracking up. It's like, and I'm saying to myself, I have seen this show so many times, this particular episode, and it still makes me laugh.
Right. Well,
You
it's
know,
just
it's,
like music. You fall in love with a song, and you don't never stop liking that song.
Okay, and I Love Lucy is another one that
I want to hear Ziller's thoughts on this.
wasn't going to make it. Ziller.
Yeah, I agree with Dose. I still listen to a song. You got to adapt to it. Once, yeah, Dose has a point. You adapt to things. Dose also said another thing that I agree on. Um, Adapting to each era. I've changed from listening to Jerry Springer to listening to other things, and I also had a show earlier about
Good
um.
example, man.
Well,
Hold on, hold
here's
on, hold on. Let him talk. Let him talk. Go
well
ahead, Ziller.
well here's the thing. I grew up with my grandparents early on, and I talked about this, and um my that's what I watched was watching Jerry Springer, and then I went on to watch cartoons, and then I went back to watching other shows like soap operas. Then I went back to my childhood, and exactly what Doe said, you got to find what actually works, and you got to find the right viewers to see what is successful in the community. And I agree. I don't like that. I hate that there's only 8 episodes. I'm looking all over the place on Netflix just right now, and yeah, there's only 8 episodes. And I hate that. I'm looking for 90 episodes each season.
I mean, to me, and it always and to me, it always seems like every show that get into, they end up canceling. I'm like, I'm just getting into this show, and they're canceling it. Whatever.
I got
You
to
know,
say, it sounds like you got bad taste in shows.
You talking about me? Oh, no, 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 no. Some of my shows, I'm like, seriously, seriously. And it's interesting because when I worked in entertainment, and we would go
You a
through this
dancer?
whole.
Did you dance?
No, I didn't. I worked with people's scripts.
Uh,
I
uh,
worked on
uh,
the
uh,
Titanic
uh.
and a whole bunch of other places. But when you were like when you go through pilot season and you're reading all these scripts and you're looking at all these pilots that are coming up, and you're reading the script, you're like, oh,
Hey,
this seems like this
Solid
would be
Blue,
good. Yeah.
did you have a pilot?
No.
Did you do a pilot? Did you do a pilot that got canceled quick?
No.
I don't expect you to admit it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
no, 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 no. But I worked on a lot of pilots, with a lot of people. But I mean, but it's like you're reading some of
So
these
this is the
scripts, you're
whole
like,
thing. This whole thing is
this
like personal to you.
what?
This whole topic and conversation, it's personal.
Why is it personal?
Well, you're talking because you've worked on all these pilots that I'm gonna say 99.9 or 99% of them got shit canned quick.
Well, I mean, it wasn't personal to me because I wasn't the person, I wasn't the actor in it, so that doesn't
Right,
have
but you're
anything to do
involved
with
in it.
me. Well, no,
But you're
not in
involved
the,
in
well, put it like this. It was a job. I had a job. I worked at an agency, and you send people out. You read scripts. You do this, that, whatever. If they got the part, they got it. If they didn't, they didn't. So no, well, it's not personal. I didn't even grow up in California, so not personal. But I mean, you just look at the way, I guess, like you said, society, or I'm sorry, yeah, society does evolve, and you just look at the different sitcoms and TV shows that have come and gone over the years, and I just think it's
I think that your
interesting.
whole evolving thing could be argued, but sorry, go ahead. I don't know
Well,
if
I mean, no,
society's evolving.
go ahead, say, what do you want to? Go ahead.
No, I don't want to say. I mean, you make it like we're getting better. So the
No,
shows.
I'm just no, I'm not trying to make it like that at all. I mean, I'm just saying that uh that society does change, like you said earlier, society does, does change. And you just look at sitcoms and TV shows over the years and how they have changed. So that's why I was asking, have sitcoms changed society, or does society change sitcoms? And then my other question was, what sitcoms were the best? So, which I know is, everyone has their own view of, what sitcoms, they like or they didn't like. Welcome
Well,
to Ralph
you got to
William
agree. You,
Podcast.
you've already you kind of made your point with when you mentioned I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy was a trend-setting show. So any show that's still in syndication, especially the old ones, you go back. You could even mention like the Honeymooners,
Hmm.
uh, and they're still in syndication. So that's what makes a successful show, and that's why they're still being viewed today.
Right, and this is and that's why I was saying earlier, that you do have something that I Love Lucy is a generational show, where I said that people are still watching them, and you have, TV Land, who is, all their shows are, their lineup pretty much is dedicated to, old shows, whatever, and people are watching. TV
Um,
Land is a successful network, so
I got a
people do want to watch those shows. Welcome, Bobby.
Ralph wants to know about architecture bunkers. Build them with bricks, dude.
Well, again, and that's another one. Archie, Bunker was groundbreaking. Let me read some of these comments here. Tuttle says my pilot was canceled before it started, but it was my fault.
I can't believe nobody's
Uh,
told me to fuck off in the comments.
hold. Well, they
We'll get
know
there. We'll get
how
there.
they know how my show is, and they're not going
Oh,
to do that.
well, that's a bummer.
So, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. Laverne and Shirley was okay, but I know a lot of people liked it. Okay, Married with Children. Did I miss any other comments? No.
Good Lord, Ralph. You type it
Wait,
like
hold
you
on,
read
hold,
it.
hold, hold, hold,
Good.
hold,
This guy.
hold, hold on, guys. Let's just respect
So
each
whack.
other here.
Sorry, you so whack.
So, So yeah. All right. So I mean,
I read,
so
hey
going.
Ralph, I read that last comment in in a Cap's voice. I'm sorry, you swag.
Okay, BP man says Father knows best. I like Father knows best. I watched some of those episodes. Yeah. So
You know what
okay,
show I
so
hate? You want to know what old show I hate? Little
which
House on the Prairie. My mother used to love that show, and whenever I got grounded, she would make me sit there and watch it with her. It was fucking awful.
well,
But
Little
again,
House on
that's
the
another one
Prairie. I mean,
that's another one
that's
that's still
another
on
one
syndication.
that's been right. It's been on for. I mean, I think the last episode was like in 1980 something, 1981, 82, and that's another show that has lasted the test of time. You know, and you look at
Well,
what's another one that Michael Landon was in. You have
Heaven's
Bonanza that's been
something.
in.
Yep, Bonanza
Um,
and Heaven's something. What the hell was that one where he's like the angel that walks a
you,
planet? Like,
you talking about touched by an angel?
yes, but he didn't know
You
kung fu.
know, I mean, and that's another one. I mean, it's like you have these shows, that have lasted the test of time, and they are generational shows that you have other generations that are growing up, and they are popular with people are growing up on those shows. Little House on the Prairie. What's the girl that played Allison or who was the mean girl on A Little House on the Prairie? Uh, anyway, she still goes around the country talking, and she
I'm
gets new
sorry, I'm reading the
fans.
comments. I don't.
So yeah. So once again, who touched who? Quantum Leap. I like Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap was an interesting show. That was an interesting show.
There's a great GIF I use from that show. Where he kind of looks in the mirror and is like, "Oh, I'm retarded."
Well, that was an interesting show, and I liked the way they took it off the air. Welcome, Redneck Rambler. Welcome. So yeah,
What about
so
Star Trek? You ever?
this is
What
go
about
ahead.
what about Star Trek? That
I was I
quite a
was never a
trendsetter.
Star Trek fan with what's his name? What's the original?
Captain
What's
Kirk,
what's the
William
with
Shatner.
Cap? Yes, I was never William Shatner,
You're more of a
Captain
next
Kirk.
generation kind of girl.
I did like the yes.
More of a
Welcome,
yeah.
shy lady.
Your life definitely would last longer on the with Captain Picard.
So yeah, I did like that show, but I was never a Trekkie. Even though it was on when I was younger, I was never a Star Trek fan, and I never really got into Happy Days either. I mean, I watched it every so often, but I wasn't really a Happy Days fan. But I did like the Partridge Family. I did. I liked.
Fuck you, Tuttles.
Come on. Watch your tone here. I'm telling you, we
Oh,
don't
I'm
do
sorry.
that on this show.
I'm
I
sorry.
keep telling you,
I'm
not on
sorry.
my show. All
I'm
right.
sorry. F you,
So
Tuttles. Take it back. Doctor Who is not better than Star Trek.
F Troop. I remember F Troop. Highway to Heaven. Now that was another Michael Landon show. I'm going up in the comments. I try to read everybody's comments. Doctor Who was better than Star. Tunnels, I have to agree. Even though I'm not a Trekkie, whatever. Doctor Who, I would watch Star Trek over Doctor Who. Good times. Okay, so yeah, welcome, Pink Squirrel. So basically, anybody else want to come up and chat or
Yeah,
no?
somebody come up. I'm
You
starting to
know,
annoy
so
Blue Sister because
no, you are not. I'm just telling you
other
what you
people
can
like to get up.
and you cannot do. Marcus Welby. I like Marcus Welby. I wish they would put that back in
Who?
syndication. They had it in syndication. Marcus Welby, MD. Um,
Never heard
yeah,
of it.
that was early 70s. That was early 70s. So I mean, and now you look at the shows now. Uh, like you compare the Marcus Welby's where he was a doctor or whatever, and again it's the 70s. Now you have the good doctor and the resident and
Big
some of
Brother,
these,
Survivor.
yeah, it's like, do you okay, let me ask this. Do you think that a Big Brother or Survivor could have survived back in the early 80s, 70s, 80s? Do you think that type of show would have done well?
But it's hard to say. Probably. Because it would have been so different. I mean, it was so different when all that stuff came out because
But do you think,
they tried to call it real life, which is
okay,
never felt
Tuttle
true.
says heck no. But do you think, welcome Crucible? But do you think back then they would have even allowed people to live together like that, considering that the codes were a little different, what you can and cannot do? You have,
Yeah,
you
probably
know,
not.
okay. So do you think something like, you take away Survivor, but do you think something like maybe the Amazing Race could have lasted? Because you're not really living with
It could have,
anyone.
but it definitely would have been formatted differently.
How so?
Well, again, you're going back to what society was then. So some of the stuff you're seeing right now wouldn't be acceptable back then. But the formula itself, I think, would have worked.
Okay. All right. The Mod Squad, Shy Lady. Yes, I love the Mod Squad. That just was in
All right, I got to run for a few.
syndication.
Nice talk.
Which
Good talk. Solid blue sister.
which which one? Okay, I totally missed that. Totally missed that one. All right. So, see, Tuttle says no. Richard Hatch was a homosexual that would have flew back. Okay, don't know about that. Don't know what you're talking about. Zilla, did you want to say something?
Oh yeah, the Survivor thing. I
Uh
think
huh.
if they gave it a chance, I definitely think it would work because it was
Back in the 70s, you think Survivor would have worked?
yeah. I truly think it would work.
Even with the format that they have.
Yes,
Okay. All right. All right. I mean, I think it would have worked. I just don't think it would have worked on the level of
not to
I
this
don't think
day, but I think it would have gone this far to this day, but it would have gone one season at least.
see
What I
I
was sorry.
go ahead, Tuttles. Go ahead.
What I was saying about Survivor was the first season of Survivor. If you had put that on TV in like 1980, it wouldn't have worked out, and especially considering the fact the guy who won his name was Richard Hatch, and he was outspoken homosexual. Like back then, stuff like that on TV, it wasn't a thing, right?
But what if but what if they said don't talk about your sexuality? Do you think it still would have worked?
Game shows were pretty popular back then. If you spin it around that way, they would have had to have edited a lot differently because people didn't give a shit about or give a care too much about gossip like they did when whatever came out. They'd have to aim it more towards like the competition aspect of like the challenges and stuff. I think if they had retooled the show, it would have worked, and they couldn't have had a gay winner. I'm
Okay,
not
see,
saying I have a
see,
problem with who won. I'm just like in the '80s, you had Archie Bunker saying this, that, and the other thing, and like homosexuality wasn't as accepted as it is these days, right?
okay, all right. But see, I'm thinking that a show like Survivor would not have worked because of the main thing is you have men and women who were not married living with each other.
Yeah, but that could have been part of the retooling as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. And GP says, I'm too millennial for this conversation. And Shiley is saying, My Three Sons and Family Affair. I remember Family Affair. And My Three Sons, they're still in syndication. Sadly, and Shiley says, sadly, all the good sitcoms are gone. I don't even watch, I do watch network TV. I do watch some of the dramas, but sitcoms I don't watch because I think most of them today are just trash. So
To be
I don't
honest, the only
know.
things I watch on actual TV these days is I watch Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown because I've been a big wrestling fan for pretty much most of my life.
All right.
So other than that, I'm on Netflix, Prime Video, HBO Max. I have all of those channels, right?
Okay. All right.
But
Now,
but to me, in recent history, in the last 10 years, probably the best TV show that's been out there was called Justified, with Timothy Olyphant in it.
you know what? I saw the first season of that. That was good.
They're actually
That
coming out with a sixth season, and it's a continuation. Like him and his wife got divorced again, and he's living in Florida, and his daughter's growing up and stuff. So they're going to be coming out with a new season on Prime Video of that,
okay.
like a
All right.
like a like a 10 year later type of thing.
So let's look at cable versus network TV. Why do you think cable is able to get away with a lot more than network TV is? And when you think about it, most people have direct TV, dish, or whatever. So most people have some type of cable coming into their home. So why do you think that network TV still has the restrictions that it does compared to cable?
Because
Ratings.
I think when people are paying for cable, you know what you're getting. So like when you order cable, you get the basic ABC, NBC, packages and stuff. But then when you pay the extra for the HBOs and the Cinemax and all that stuff, you know what you're actually paying for. So they can actually do that, right? Like if you don't want to have the skin flicks on your TV, you're not going to pay for that channel package. So, it's just sort of like open season on there because you know what you're getting.
But can't you just say if you don't want to watch it, just turn it off?
That too. But
Okay.
see, in Canada, like all of our channels, like ABC, NBC, after 11 p.m., it was no holds barred up here in Canada. They would play like Baby Blue movies and stuff because our channels up here were like syndicated from down there, but we were owned by our own CRTC type thing. So anything after like 10:30 or 11 p.m., it was open season and they could play basically anything they wanted.
So in terms of not cable, but in terms of just like network, what we have on our network TVs, are you getting the shows the same time they come out when we get them? Like if it's a new show that comes out for us, do you get it in Canada? Do you get it at the same time?
No, I would have to tune into a when we had the antenna. I could because I'm right close to Buffalo, and
Hmm.
we had a Buffalo affiliate, and so I would watch a lot of TV out of Buffalo. Like that's where I had to watch Fox on Sunday nights, stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay. All right.
So
Shy
I don't
Lady
think
says,
I don't think
I
the like Cinemaxes and the HBOs and all those the FCC rulings apply to them as much as it does like your just regular public ABC, NBC, the regular TV when you just kind of click it on. I think that's one of the big reasons for that. Could be
okay.
wrong.
All right. Shy Lady says, well, first, let me read what BP says. BP says, family ties, family matters. Okay. Chalet says the old sitcoms had great music things that doesn't exist anymore. Even the commercial had jingles and singing. They were great. You know what? And she has a point because you still remember that tune that stays in your head where the intro song was a song. So when did it
Yeah,
change from a song to just, I mean, a singing song to just music?
1995, and I'm not even kidding.
Okay. So,
He's
and
got the
I mean,
date.
no, tell me. I mean, because I don't know. So what happened in 1995?
There was a transition in the industry over to simpler things like that. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I was on a whole discussion about it. I think I was half asleep, but 1995 was the year that was pinpointed by people that the transition was made over from old school like stuff to sort of how it's done now.
Huh?
That's interesting because I think
When
that shows you can identify them from their jingles or from their music.
Oh, absolutely. Like even there was a throwback. There was that movie that Jennifer Anderson was in, and she was a stripper, and she went to Mexico with this dude to bring back a bunch of weed. So they were driving in the RV and they were flipping through the radio, and then they came across the Friends song, and everybody in the theater just totally popped for it because it was like, oh my god, it was so recognizable. And Jennifer Aniston does like this little cross-eyed look to the dude who was driving the RV.
So
But
yeah, I mean, it's like people do, you recognize, songs, and that's another reason why I think maybe some shows have stood the test of time. Some of the older ones, because you do have that music, like and like you said, you start singing to it. You know, how many people really can recognize the opening song to some of the shows that have come and gone in the last ten years. So I don't know.
Fame. I want to live forever.
But again, that was a song. That was a song that was recognized, So welcome, Saturday Night Smoke. Welcome. So okay, so let's go from sitcoms to talking about dramas. So you had your dramas in the '60s, like you had the Untouchables, Hawaii Five O, um, uh, I see it, but I can't think of it off the name of it. But then again, you go to the '70s and things get a little grittier. But you still had wholesome shows. Look at the Waltons. The Waltons lasted what, 8 or 9 seasons. And again, that's another show. That's a generational show. It has been on forever. It's in syndication everywhere. So why has the Waltons lasted for so long?
You're just catering to the people who identify who watched it back then. They're actually catering to you. Um, like I said earlier, like 20, 25-year-old kids aren't watching that shit.
I don't know, Doss. I don't know. I think that you have generations that grow up on shows and they watch it, because when you think about it, when a show, okay, I'm gonna go back to I Love Lucy, because that's an older show. So you have the people who were that age when it first came on. So those people have pretty much died, possibly, but you have another generation that has come up. They've gotten older. You have another generation. I mean, we're talking 60 years.
You
So,
remember? You remember when I said my mother used to make me watch Little House on the Prairie with her for
uh
punishment?
huh,
Maybe that's why those shows are still in syndication.
you better sit down here and watch Little House on the Prairie, or else.
No, mom.
That's
You fucking
you
serious? You're
know
gonna put I Love Lucy on again? Oh my god, kill me now.
so yeah, so I don't know. I just think that there are some shows that just, for whatever reason, they just stand the test of time, and others just don't. Others, they may be good shows, but you try to put them out over and over and over, they're just not going to do it. But you have other shows that just will.
can I reverse a question on you there, Solid Blue
Yeah,
Sister?
yeah.
Has there ever been something you came across, say like a Netflix binge or something like that, that you absolutely loved the show back in the old days and you put it on and it just totally sucked ass?
You said with Netflix?
Yeah, like say on any of the streaming services, Netflix, Prime Video, Tubi, anything like that. Like there was a show that you totally loved, you're totally obsessed with it, and back in the day, but then you seen that it was on there, you got all excited, you got your popcorn ready, you're gonna sit down and binge it, you get into the first episode and you realize, oh my god, this did not stand the test of time.
That's why I don't go back and watch those shows because I did that once.
I am
I want to keep
thinking.
that memory the way it is. I love that shit because I know if I go back and watch like one of those, like oh god, I can't do it. Like a Magnum PI. Remember Magnum PI?
Yep.
That show was awesome back in the day. You go back and try to watch that now, and you're like, oh my god, it fucking
You know what? You know
just
what?
ruined
And
it.
that's true with Magnum PI. You know, you watch it then, but going back, I can't, I can't do it.
The one that screwed me over was MacGyver.
Yes, I have not gone back and that was the first one I thought of when I went back and watched an old episode of Magnum PI. I was like, oh my god, this sucks so bad, and it was like, okay, I can't go back and watch these shows ever again. These memories I have of this being awesome, I just want to hold on to that. And
Now,
MacGyver
Pink,
is another one of those. And I've seen they've made like remakes right now of MacGyver and Magnum PI. My fucking wife loves them. I watch this and I'm like, holy shit. Maybe I should go back and watch the older ones because these ones suck.
well, Pink Squirrel says Miami Vice, and that is one that I try to watch again. I cannot watch it. It's just not the same. You
So
know,
this is
so
Miami Vice. Okay, going back to what you're saying and what I was saying, where the sitcom the society mimics the sitcoms. So if you look at what's going on in the '80s, there's a lot of freaking cocaine going on. So somebody comes up with the idea, well, where's all this cocaine coming from? Well, it's coming from South America, but it's all going right to Miami. Hey, I got an idea. Cocaine, Miami, Miami Vice. Let's do it. Boom, success.
okay, fine, right,
Well, well, they
but
were
at the
writing the
same
show doing cocaine at the same time.
but at the same time, though, again, I come back to Miami Vice. I don't think, even though they've tried and they did the remakes of the movies and everything like that, it just didn't stick. As opposed to your Little House on the Prairies, your Waltons,
You're wrong. You're wrong. Miami
so.
Vice is still in syndication. People still watch it.
But I don't think that it's the way it is with. Okay, but see, now you're
It
okay.
is.
So okay, so you're telling me that I'm wrong, but at the same time, it's like I can say the same thing what you said to me. Who is watching it?
The people who loved
And
Miami Vice back in the day. Same as
okay, but Miami Vice has not been in syndication like for years and years and years and years and years. Miami Vice, I mean, I know is out
but
there,
it
but
will
it's
be
not
in
out there.
syndication for years and years and years and years.
Okay, all right, all right. All right.
All right.
I'm just saying.
All
All
right.
right. Um, let's see. Tuttle's. Oh, okay. Scooter says the Tuttle's master of illusion. What's up? Chalet says if I channel surf and see Columbo, I'll watch it. I like who done it. Okay. Stuck in the 80s and Gilligan's Island. Scooter said Gilligan's Island is just still hilarious. Okay. So again, is there any sitcom out there that you guys just absolutely cannot believe that it has lasted for so long because you for whatever reason you personally think that it's a bad sitcom?
Well, I'll give you an example. I think Tuttles, I think you brought it up. Were you the one that said Married with Children?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I said Married
tell
with
us what
Children.
you
Yeah.
okay, you were the okay.
Yeah, because if I'm sitting around on my couch and I'm kind of channel surfing or whatever it's going to be called then, and I see Married with Children, I'm going to put it on. I'm going to watch it just because it brings me back.
Yeah, but it does stand the test of time as well too, because I've sat down, I've gone through, I don't know, season on season, and then I showed it to my brother-in-law. He's like, "Oh yeah, awesome!" Because I can't remember what, I think it was on Prime Video, and we just hammered through them all, and it stood the test of time. It definitely did.
It does with us, but is it going to stand the test of time if you're trying to do a show like that? If you show, say, a 17-year-old kid that show, do you think they're going to get it? You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I think they wouldn't, because my son's 22, and I think that I actually tried to show him it, and I don't think it actually went over very well. Now that you're mentioning that, I think it's gonna prove itself though. See what happens soon, because the cartoon's coming out. They're doing the cartoon, and they have all the original actors doing the voices of the cartoon.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, it's gonna be out Netflix. I think October.
Oh God,
Hmm.
not
That's
Netflix. I should have
that's
turned it off.
that that is interesting. Okay. All right. Um, Pink Squirrel says Friends. Scooter says Friends. I've never seen an episode of Friends.
I've never seen an episode of
Seinfeld.
Friends. I've never seen an episode of Seinfeld in my entire life.
Wow.
And I've never
And
seen The Sopranos.
I've never seen.
I've I've
I've only
never
seen bits and
seen
parts
The
of The
Sopranos.
Sopranos.
Never
I've never
seen The
seen.
Sopranos.
I've never
Okay,
seen Game of Thrones.
what about MASH? I've only seen two episodes of MASH, and MASH was a huge thing back then.
Yeah, that was a little earlier for my time. It was on in syndication when I was younger, but I didn't quite understand the premise of it when I was a kid.
Okay, Scooter, Moonlighting. That's interesting. I have not heard anyone say that show in years.
Bruce
Years. That
Well,
was Bruce Willis. That was his first gig, right? I mean, like serious one, like where everyone really
Yeah.
kind of knew where he was before he went to the movies.
it
Okay,
wasn't as
That
good as Remington Steele.
I liked Hunter. It had more car
Remington Steele
crashes.
was good.
Hunter was awesome.
Hunter. Now that
Fred
was
Dryer.
good. That was good. That was good.
Do
I
y'all
See,
agree.
I
remember
mean,
that Simon and Simon show?
I
I do
remember that.
remember Simon and Simon. Yep.
That
See,
It's
now
that
on the
you're
was
same time.
pulling
It was
like
like
stuff
around
stuff
18.
stuff from the 80s.
yeah.
Now, Simon and Simon, you can catch that every so often on the same network when they do Colombo, Streets of San Francisco, whatever. Simon and Simon will pop up every so often.
That's kind of neat. I wouldn't actually mind trying that one out again because I don't know. I don't know if it would stand the test of time, but the storylines were just so simple that I think you could pull off watching it.
Okay. All right. So, do you guys like who done it? Like Shy Lady says that she likes Columbo because it's a who done it. Do you like the you know the person who's going to come? You have the murder, then you figure it out, as opposed to Law and Order and Law and Order SVU and all these other shows that are out there compared to the Columbos and the Streets of San Francisco of you know 20, 30 years ago.
Well, do you want to know the truth? Murder She Wrote was one of my little secret obsessions that a lot of people didn't know I
Murder She
watched.
Wrote? Seriously?
Yes,
Oh, I did not like Murder She Wrote because I did not like what's her face?
Angelica Houston.
No, not Angelica Houston. Oh, see, now you're gonna make me you making me look it up. Okay, now I have to look it up. No, her last name started with an L.
Angela Lansbury. Sorry.
Angela Lansbury. Yes.
Yes,
Oh
I'm
no,
sorry.
I
It's been a
no.
30 years since I've watched it. I had it half right.
No, 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 no. I've only liked her in two things. That was two movies. One was Gaslight from the 40s, whatever. But that mm-mm, mm-mm.
You
So let
want
me ask you this: did you like Charlie's Angels?
to? Not so much actually.
I
Okay.
loved it.
I like the
Did you
movies,
like
the more modern movie versions of it,
see
but
the
I wasn't
movies?
big into the old show.
The movies, no. And I will say that there was a distinct difference that, Farrah Fawcett, she only did one season. And I think that season was the best. When you started bringing on her sister and then this person and that person, it just wasn't the same.
Do you want to
It
know what
wasn't the
thing?
same.
I don't know if this is sort of in the subject realm or not, but one thing I miss about television back in the 80s and 90s, every like
What?
6 months or so, you'd have like the miniseries come out, like It or The Stand or The Langoliers or
Oh, it
like
with Tim Curry. Oh,
yes,
that one was the
but
best. Oh,
it just was like such an event. They built it up, and then just like everybody literally watched it because it was on for like 4 or 5 days or whatever, 8 till whatever time. And this little mini series is that they would put on. It was just a big event. Everybody watched it. It didn't matter who you were, and like the Langoliers went over pretty good. The Stand went over pretty good. Like I miss the big event miniseries that people would like totally look forward to, and it was usually
so
Stephen
why do
King.
you think they don't do that anymore?
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
I
I
mean,
couldn't tell you why.
do you think that is greed, or they just don't want to spend the money? I mean, why do you think that they don't have miniseries anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no answer to that, and I missed that. Like the big event, like there was the one big event. It wasn't a mini series, but like the first time King Kong was played in 3D, and everybody had to go to 7-Eleven get the 3D glasses. It's like everybody that I knew had the 3D glasses to watch King Kong. Like it was like a whole
Right,
thing. You
right.
had to do it back then.
Hey,
Okay.
thanks for
Well,
having me.
welcome, Pink Squirrel. But Pink, before you start, I just want to just read a couple of comments. Scooter says Jake and the Fat Man was awful. It was awful. And you're saying stupid, silly detectives, and Ironside was great, is what Scooter says. And hold on, Charlie's Angels. Um, Charlie says I like Charlie's Angels because they wore beautiful clothes and they dressed so nice. Okay, so welcome, Pink. Welcome.
I have to say, we don't listen to those miniseries now because we binge watch on Netflix and all that. We have the ability to binge watch now. Do you know what I mean? When you had to wait every week, it was like we're so busy every week. We want to sit down for 4 or 5 hours and binge watch over a weekend versus, you know,
Yeah, but
waiting
still,
every week.
yeah, but if you look on Netflix and stuff, they still have like, series like, you look at I love Daredevil and stuff like that. I mean, wouldn't you still consider what Netflix has as like a series that you are still watching a
Right? No, that's what
series?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That, but it all comes out in a series, and we sit down and watch a series for 4 or 5 episodes, 6 in a row. We don't want to wait every week. Do you know if ABC, NBC puts that out, we're like, oh, another week's gone by, we forget. We're binge watchers now. I mean, I think that's what the difference, and I think it's the same thing. It's like when they put out The Stand and all that, we didn't have the ability to binge watch, but now we want it now, we want it fast. You know what I mean? We can't wait week to week. So that's the
So,
idea of like binge watching.
what do you think would happen if cable was just taken away? If just the plug was pulled and it was like no cable for 1 year? Do you think people would literally lose their lose their minds?
I think on the big part of it, the only people who would really lose their minds over it would be people who enjoyed watching like the football games and the sports events.
Yeah, see, I don't have cable, but I have all the other ones. I have Netflix and Hulu. So I mean, if they took all that away, yeah, I think there'd be problems.
Okay, but if they took
But
it away and we just had to go back to ABC, CBS, and NBC, I mean, you don't think that people would get? I mean, you don't think they would
I
get
do, but
some little?
yeah, we'd have to retrain ourselves though. Do you know what I mean? We'd have to retrain ourselves to getting used to, oh, it's Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. We're going to watch the show. We'd have to stop ourselves from our busy routine to actually focus in on the show for a particular day. Whereas before, like, it's a rainy day, I'm going to binge watch 19 episodes in a row. It was just a different way of how we watch TV.
So, okay, so let me ask this. I'm gonna throw age in there. Do you think that when you say retrain, do you think it will be harder for millennials and Gen Zs and Gen Xs as opposed to baby boomers to retrain themselves to watch network TV?
Um,
I don't
Ziller?
think any
um,
I don't think anybody past 1999 would grasp the
Jesus,
concept.
Jesus.
All
Sorry,
right,
Zach.
Ziller, go ahead.
No, not really, because actually, me and Pink Squirrel and a lot of people had a conversation with on my show last night, and I actually grabbed a book and I was reading it, and we Pink Squirrel was there. I was actually grabbed a book and shut off Netflix the whole damn television, and I was reading a book instead of watching television. So for me, I would just if TV was completely done, I'd just go to the freaking library.
Well, yeah, it's a
And
Okay,
different type
all
of
right.
focus. It's a focus. Like kids, I don't, and I'm not making a judgment here. They can't focus week to week to week. Everything's so fat. They can't read full paragraphs. Everything has to be bulletproof. That's why Twitter, 160 characters or whatever. It's a different way of viewing and reading and learn. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. It's faster. These kids, it's different. You know, it is what it's not a judgment call. Make sure of that. I'm just saying that it's, you know, I'm trying to get my dog
Okay,
on her leash here as we're
all
talking.
right.
So I think it would
Now,
have to be a train to a different way of slowing down because it is a lot slower. You know, I mean,
It is.
So
It
I don't
is.
know.
It is.
And adapting too. You also have to learn to adapt to different cultures and um, when you're born in a century, you got to learn to adapt to new things as well.
And another thing
Now,
to think of on that end, also, what do you think kids would do if all these friggin' commercials for a half an hour show, you get 10 minutes of commercials?
true. True.
Well,
No, I mean
that's
no,
true too. No, no,
and
it is true. It's a
that is
different
a
way to
good
look at
point.
it. Yeah, it is a good point.
That's a very good point
So,
because I know when I very rarely sit down and just watch a show that's airing right then. I tape everything, but when the commercials come on, you're fast forwarding. You're fast forwarding, to the commercials. So,
well, that's exactly you. You have the ability to record it, right? So you can watch it when you want it. So if it's only aired and we couldn't record it, and it's only on Wednesdays at eight
oh,
o'clock.
that would I would say that would drive me crazy, but I don't think I would have such a hard time adapting to it as opposed to maybe someone younger.
I agree. Yeah, again, it's what you grew up to. It's what you're used to, right? I mean,
Right.
it's reprogramming, and we didn't have podcasts back then. We couldn't do this. This was all done
Right.
by. If you talked to somebody else that was across the country, you were paying for. You're paying. Listen, you talked to somebody in California before I was in Illinois. It was a $300 phone bill. Here I am talking to people all over the world now, and it cost me absolutely nothing. You had to be careful who you talked to back then. It cost you money.
Yeah, I used to work for one of those one of those companies. So yeah, it did. Now,
My bell and all that stuff. Calling you can't call long distance. It's a dollar something. How did we do that? Now we're
right.
able to talk to people in Australia, New York, for nothing or next to
Yeah.
nothing anyway. But so it's just a it would be a total reprogramming. And it's a simple thing though, right? You wouldn't think that it would be that, but it is. Wow, communication has changed.
Now, Scooter says advertising dollars don't support the short run serials like Shogun. Shogun was good. They were awesome though. Let's see. Bobby says Netflix is good to watch whenever you want. Thank you guys for liking the show. And BP says, Pink, you talk to me. Do you are not careful? Not sure what you mean. Good point. If I was charged for talking to Pink's girl, I'd be getting a lawyer. And Rich Man, Poor Man, Scooter. Yes, Rich Man, Poor Man. A lot of people probably don't even remember that. That was a good miniseries, and like Pink said, people are probably not going to want to wait the next week to see what's going to happen next. And that was a great miniseries. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. Um, well, this has been a great show, guys. Thank you guys for showing up. And Pink, I think this is the
Sorry,
first time on my show.
I'm walking
Thank
my dog.
you.
I'm sorry if I keep cutting out.
No,
So
no, no. I'm just saying thank you for popping in. I mean, thank you very much. Thank you.
it's a very interesting topic. It's nice that you have a topic and we're sticking to it. It's very lots of memories are popping out of my head that I hadn't thought, and they're pleasant. And it's pleasant. It's pleasant. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember
well,
this one. I remember that one.
well, I
Yeah,
I will tell you, I am a big fan of TV Land. I like the old shows. I like the Columbos, and when Streets of San Francisco was on, when they brought that back on last year, I was taping it. I do like my three sons. you know,
I love my three
I
sons.
there's just a lot of good shows out there, and you look at what's on TV now, and you're like, really, so, but I am dating myself, but I don't care. Um, but I mean, times were different, so
What about the Golden Girls?
I did like the Golden Girls. Now that's another show that I can watch, and it makes me laugh. I mean,
I don't.
those were funny shows.
I
I
like the
hate to
Golden
admit
Girls.
it, but I like the Golden Girls, and I'm a man.
I
That's
mean,
okay.
there's,
Everybody likes the Golden
yeah.
Girls.
I mean, I don't think there's anything different if you were man or woman. Um, Pink. I don't know if you remember. You have the Mary Tyler Moore show, but then you had,
I
and then you
love
had
Mary
Rhoda.
Tyler and Rhoda.
But I love
Yes.
Rhoda. I love Rhoda. I
I
love
love
Rhoda.
the Mary Tyler. Oh my God. I'm like got goosebumps. I totally forgot about those.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And you know,
it's a very good topic.
Rhoda started to go down to me when she and Joe got
Yeah,
divorced.
yeah, 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 yeah.
When they had them split, I was like, nah. And then the show it just wasn't the same.
Well, because it was formula. I mean, like and all the shows now, everybody has a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, and then they get better. It's like, not everybody has to have an addiction to get back. It always seems like it falls. Well, so like
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
SVUs and whatever, everybody has a problem, or they get into that same. I like when
yeah.
there's a storyline rather than the personal. Everybody has a problem type of
Well, you
thing, and
know,
that's why
one
Columbo
thing.
was good. Columbo, was Columbo married? We never saw his wife. He had a dog.
You know, no. Columbo, Jimmy, I'm sorry, I miss you there. Columbo was not married, but he did talk about his wife. I think at it was assumed that he was married, but his wife had passed.
Oh, is that how?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you was
Because
never about Columbo. It was always about the
right.
story. Now you got
It
everybody
was about the
yes,
story. Right.
yes.
Right. And I think another thing that they ruined was, and I hate this when they do this with shows, is if the lead character gets pregnant, they write it into the story, or they get married, or if you have two people, male and female, and then all of a sudden season 2 they fall in love, and it's like the show just starts to go down. Just you don't have to write the pregnancy into the story. Just just keep it the way it is. But I don't know. Jimmy, welcome.
Hmm. No, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love the topic about sitcoms. Have sitcoms changed society? You know what? I gotta admit, that is a very good question. It's a very good topic. I do believe they do. I mean, one sitcom that I can tell you that changed my life or changed my perspective on life growing up as a young boy, I really related to it because the show was about a young boy growing up and going through different aspects of his life. And the show that I'm talking about is Boy Meets World. It's a Disney sitcom, and it is categorized as a sitcom.
Boy
And
Meets World is.
a lot of people are
I'm trying
shocked
to.
to find out that's considered a sitcom, and it is.
That is one show that I could not get into.
What's the one? Not the other
Really?
one. Boy Meets World. What's the other one? He grows up. He's a little kid with the girl with the long bushy. Oh,
The Wonder
not.
Years.
The Wonder
Yes,
Years?
thank you. Yes, sorry.
That's
Yeah, I
another
got
one
them
too
too
that I
confused.
Now,
watch, but
that's
no.
Yeah, yeah.
another one. That's another one that I cannot get into. But Danica McKellar, I love her. Don't laugh at me. I love her in the
Oh, I do
Hallmark
too. She's
movies.
awesome.
I love her
Oh
in the
hell yeah,
Hallmark
she's
movies.
awesome. I'm not gonna let as a guy, I would sit there and binge watch Hallmark movies all day, every day if I could. I'm not gonna lie.
The courtship of Eddie's father, Scooter. Yeah, yeah, I remember that one.
I'll let my cousin know
Yeah.
Let
that you
me
Oh my
guys
tell you
met
about
through
Saved by
god!
the
my
Bell.
Hallmark
best
Yes,
I
friend.
that's
haven't
what I was gonna get to next. Saved by the Bell.
I haven't heard of these
But
in years.
you know
Oh
what's
my god.
Okay, wait, hold
you
on.
know what's
Because
crazy about
hold on, because everybody's talking over each other. Let me go back to Pink. Which, what are you talking about when you say you
All of
haven't heard
them.
her? Oh,
All
okay,
of them.
all right.
I'm sitting here walking the dog. I'm like, I remember that one. Where did they all go? I might be binge watching them tonight. I'm gonna tune out because I'm watching my dog, walking my dog. But thank you. This is a great show. I'm gonna stay listening though.
Okay,
Thanks for
okay.
having me on.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
all right. Jimmy,
Mm. Yeah,
I'm
I was gonna
sorry. Go
say,
ahead,
yeah, I'm
Jimmy.
glad I'm glad BP brought out Saved by the Bell. As a kid, I never realized how cynical and how self-centered and selfish Zach Morris was in that show until I started watching it as an adult. And I'm like, holy shit, how the hell did I watch this as a kid and not even like pay attention to that? This guy, if you break every episode down of Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris always came up with the scheme to get something. He always wanted something, and he didn't give a shit if he hurt his friends or whatever and stuff until like like really realized what the consequences were of his actions and stuff. He didn't care as long as he got what he wanted. And sometimes when he got what he wanted, he still wasn't satisfied because he realized, like I said, that he pissed his friends off. He threw them to the curb. And somehow these kids were still his fucking friend. I'm like, holy shit. That's in real
Well,
life, they would have gave his ass the boot. They would have whooped his
this is true.
ass.
Yep, yep. So let me ask this, because this is the final question that I want to ask. When
Sure.
you guys watch a show, or again, I'm going back to the I Love Lucy back in the 50s, and
Oh, yes.
from there going forward, out of all the shows that have been on, either sitcoms or the dramas, do you think that from the first one or two episodes, you're going to know what character is going to be the standout and whether or not that person is going to go on to the movies and have a really fantastic movie career?
Yeah, I normally judge it off the first after watching the first five. I don't usually go by the first three because the last few
Okay.
times I did that by the first three, I was wrong. So, but if I go by the first five, normally I'll spot out who's going to be the standout character of TV shows and stuff. And and I called it with Anna Kendrick. Like as soon as I saw her in Twilight, I was like, oh my God, Anna Kendrick. She does not belong as a supporting character. She is a main character in a movie. And sure enough, she blew up after Twilight. Kristen Stewart career, she went to hell. Hers blew up. Even I'm trying to remember what's his name on the TV show that his career went up really high. Uh,
Okay,
oh man, I
you
can't
look at
think of it.
something. So you look at, okay. So BP says Cheers. So on Cheers you have Ted Danson. I mean
Ted Danson, yeah. Oh hell
he
yeah.
blew up.
Kirstie Alley
You
blew up too.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. Yeah,
Woody Harrelson, but Kirstie Alley, she kind of went and then she kind of fizzled. She
yeah.
was,
I
I
mean,
mean,
she's
she
still she was the '90s, like the '90s. I guess her big career moment was late '80s, mid '90s, and that was it. Because after mid '90s, her career started going down.
I can
okay.
only name
Dos,
one
hold on,
movie
I
with
miss
her
you
in it.
there.
It's
Okay,
Look Who's Talking.
so do you look at, again, I say, when you look at somebody like Alex P. Keaton, then he went on to do the what were the three movies that he did, back to the Future, which pretty
Back to
much
the
made him
Future
a
and Teen
household
Wolf.
name.
Teen Wolf
Teen
as
Wolf,
well.
whatever. But Back to the Future really, put him on the, board, whatever. um but why do you think that when people, when the writers are writing this and they're casting, do you think that they even know, or do you think that they kind of say, well, this character may be the one that pops out, but it's really another character? Or sometimes it's even that supporting role that they never thought was, like with, who was it, did did I do that, Family Matters, with
Urkel.
Urkel.
Yes, Steve Urkel.
He was
Yeah,
only
Jaleel
supposed to
White.
be a, walk on every so often, but then he was the show. So
Well,
do
Hmm.
you
see, the
think that
fam.
they know that, like, how do these people just come out of nowhere? And could any other person who played Urkel could have been Urkel? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody could have played at that time period. I don't think there could have been any other actor to play Steve Urkel other than Jaleel White because he was so relatable. That's what people loved about Urkel. That's what people connected with Urkel and why he stole the show was because if you look at the other characters in the show, they symbolize the perfect loving, caring family. And in the real world, nobody's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect, loving, caring family. Urkel represented dysfunction or semi dysfunctional, wanting to be loved, being a loving person himself, being klutzy, just the overall normal person. That's what people connected to was with Urkel more than the other characters. And I think when Jaleel White put on those glasses, like he said in the interview, when he put on those glasses and he gave it his all, those people knew at that moment, like, this kid is gonna propel this show. This kid brought something to the table that we did not think was gonna happen, or we didn't think that this character was gonna be expanded. But this guy, this kid, has the magic. And sure enough, he did. I mean, he got on. He himself got on to say, and I respect him for being honest, saying that he had no idea how big of an impact his show and his character would be on American society. And I mean, it was amazing just growing up watching that show.
So, do you think that you have people
Das.
like? Do you think that you have people like the Urkels, who, have a hard time getting out of that character? Like, you have people from like Gillian's Island who had a really
Oh,
hard, like they
oh
really
yeah.
couldn't get anything else. So,
Well, look
do
at
you?
Dustin Diamond who played Screech. He had the hardest time finding work,
And
hardest
I
time
think
because
that's
everybody
probably one reason why
typed.
he had such issues. So do you
Actually,
think that
I had a
people?
conversation with him, and
Oh, really?
he,
Okay.
yeah, I actually met him at one. I went to one of his stand-up comedy shows, and after the show, I mean, he dogged on me like half the show because I was sitting by myself. And after the show, he came up to me, he gave me a hug, and he was like, "Dude, I want to thank you for taking the jokes like a man. You sat there, took them, laughed about him. You didn't get mad or upset. The last show I did, I dogged on some guy, and he totally flipped out, and I thought he was gonna freaking stab me or something, but you took it like a champ. He's like, let me get you some beers and let's talk. I was like, all right. So we sat there and talked, and we were drinking our beers, um, and he was. I asked him, so I because I was curious. I asked him like, so how did playing Screech affected your career? Because I know at one point you weren't getting for a good amount of time you weren't getting work. And he's like, yeah, I was typecasted as a white nerdy guy or white scrawny nerdy character, and every time I went out for a role, people the casting crew was like, you know what, we like you, we think you did an excellent reading of this character, but the thing is, we can't get past seeing Screech. It's just
But do
we
you?
have a hard time, and for a long time it was that problem. Then he said that once he started doing other shows like cameos and stuff like that, then they started letting him do more. But even now, he hardly does. Oh well, he passed away already,
Right, right.
um, but before he passed away, he was just barely getting back into that. Um,
But do you think that people, like when you take those roles, do you think that the Urkels and the Screeches, Gilligan, whatever, that you kind of know you're going to be typecasted? I mean, do you think that kind of the writings on the wall, or when you're reading the script, that you kind of know that if you play this particular character, that you may be Dos, hold on, I didn't get you. That you may,
Asking,
that you kind of know that you're going to be typecast.
I think so. I think when an actor reads a script, um, as a person, I've read a few scripts before, and reading a script and understanding the type of character that you're playing and what you bring to the table for that character, I feel as if they do have an understanding of what kind of person they play, a kind of typecast they'll get played into. So look at Matthew McConaughey, great prime example. He knew from the beginning when he became an actor that they were going to typecast him in rom coms, and that's all he was doing in the beginning of his career was rom coms back to back. And he himself said that he got tired of doing that, and he started doing different roles. He was turning down rom coms left and right just to do different roles, um, and he himself, like I said, he already knew from the beginning that he was going to be typecast as the pretty boy rom com. Um, the person that the girl would be going after.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
Well, I am going to start wrapping it up. So, Doss, I'm going to start with you. Do you have any last words?
Yeah, as far as being typecast, if you're going to get in Hollywood and you're going to start acting and you could get typecast as a certain character, you got to run with it
Hmm.
because the Matthew McConaughey's are very rare.
Hmm.
So,
Look at
do you think there's a trade-off, meaning that if you are typecast as the Screeches or the Urkels, and this is just your only sitcom, um, that
You
make
milk
make
it.
your
You
you make your money, right, you milk it for what it is, and then if you don't get
hmm
anything else, then you just, at least you can say that you were on a great sitcom or a great
you could
drama,
as an
whatever.
actor, you could say I had a successful career, even if you
yeah,
get that
you
one
can.
show,
Right,
even
right.
if you get
Okay,
typecast.
okay. All right. Jimmy, you have any last words?
Yeah, just like that. You know, some actors, you know, they understand they'll get typecasted. They milk it for all it's worth, like Sean William Scott.
Wait,
He
hold on,
played
Doss.
Stifler.
Could you wait? Hold on, Doss. Could you mute yourself? You have some background noise coming in. Thanks. Okay,
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah, you milk it as much as you can, make your money, and if you know Hollywood says they don't want you no more, okay, but you milk the cow. Sean William Scott, who played Stifler in American Pie movie, said, "I was always typecast as the outrageous, outgoing, hyper crazy guy, and every single role he's done is practically the exact same character. His characters have never changed. It's always the same type of character in every single movie he's been in, whether it's American Pie." Road Trip, you name it. The Goon, like the Goon or Goon, same
Goonies.
thing.
Goonies.
No,
Goonies.
Goon. Sean
Oh,
William
good.
Scott
Okay.
was in Goon, not
Okay.
Goonies.
Okay.
So Goon's a
Okay.
hockey movie. He plays a hockey
Oh, okay.
goon. Yeah.
Okay.
So like he always played that exact same character in every single movie, but I mean it worked for him. He made his money. He was happy. He wasn't upset with it, and he still continues to do certain roles like that, and he's not bitter about it. Then you have actors like um, Tom Welling who bitch and complain about it because he I don't know if y'all know who Tom Welling is, but he played Clark Kent slash Superman
Oh
in
yeah. Yeah.
Smallville.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All
So he
right.
was afraid that he was gonna get typecast as Superman, and you know what? He should have ran with it instead of being afraid of it. And because of his
Okay.
attitude that he had, he practically ruined his own career. Not because he was typecasted, but because of his attitude towards it.
Okay. And Tuddles, your turn. Any last words? Any last words?
I think I think whether you get typecasted or not, and if you're in Hollywood, you get an opportunity. You should just freaking run with it because there's 10,000 people standing behind you that would take your slot. You know, take it, be
And
happy with
Tuddles,
it, and
you
do what you
are
do.
so right. You are so
Absolutely.
right. There are so many. There are so many people. I mean, so many people who are just they have big dreams, but very. Even if you get a sitcom or a show, a 1 hour drama, whatever, that makes it, that is very few, far and in between. Very few and far in between. And it's even worse now because I've noticed that a lot of people from the big screen now are going to Netflix, and now they're taking the roles that maybe you could have had, So
Oh yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
you get that opportunity. Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, Solid Blue Sister, this was one heck of a topic. I'm glad it didn't go political like your show tends to do sometimes.
well, that's
Same.
why
Same. Great show. Great topic.
I try to I try after what happened last week, and I don't know, that one show that just went haywire. I try to keep my shows, even though they tend to drift, whatever. Everyone knows how my shows are. I'm not trying to be the strict teacher, whatever, but I can't have shows where people are talking over each other, calling people out of their names, whatever. That's just not this show. So I appreciate everyone staying on topic. I was trying to have a good show, a fun show, and I learned something. You guys told me stuff that I didn't even know. And that 95 thing, Tunnels, with the music and the singing, I did not know that. I'm actually going to research that. So
Yeah, I'm gonna
yeah.
try to find it again. It was something I watched, and it was and then I got involved in a conversation on different podcasts about it, and it was nailed down to like 1995. You got a plus minus 1 or 2 years there, right? Because Married with Children didn't end till 97, but realistically, it jumped the shark around 95 when they brought in 9 or 7 or whatever his name was. But anyways, yeah, 1995 seems to be the date, the year that people nailed down when everything changed. So.
Okay. And Tuddles, I put my email in. If you can email me, I know you email on Friendly Differences, but I want to talk to you about, when you're able to come on. And tomorrow, guys, if you can, on Friendly Differences, Bahram and I are going to be doing a show with Scooter and Spanky from Beans and Weenie. Is going to be on tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific time, streaming across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And hopefully, we can get everything up and running on Podbean where we can do all these platforms at one time, but it will be video, so you will see us. And I'm actually looking forward to that. So that's 12 noon tomorrow Pacific time. So you guys could jump on, that would be great. And on Podbean, Friendly Differences, we have not been doing many shows. So if you search for us, we're at the bottom. So yeah, but Doss, Jimmy, Tuttles, Ziller, thank you for popping up, and Pink and
You're welcome.
Frankie, BP, Shy Lady, Petty Deb, everyone who was in the chat, Scooter, thank you guys so much, because my show does not work without you guys. And when I say I appreciate you, I really, really do. So thank you.
Thanks for having
Oh,
me
you're
up.
welcome. No problem. Anytime. Great show again, as always. Wow,
Thank
you
you.
hit some really
I
good
forgot.
topics.
I forgot what we were
So
talking about.
I'm sorry, Doss.
I forgot what we were talking about.
That's okay. That's okay. But anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I hope to see
Das,
you
real quick,
guys
let me hear.
tomorrow. I'm sorry, you want to say something to Doss?
I was gonna say, Das, let me hear it one time, just one more time, D. Let me hear. Put, please don't hurt me.
What?
You want to say that, Doss?
No, I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about. He's
Oh, okay.
Your profile picture,
whoop,
Ben
whoop,
Stiller.
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Okay, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow or Monday. Bye.
Definitely.
Handsome.
You're the best, Das.
And the Warriors win. Yes,
Boo.
yes.
Boo. Come on,
Jimmy, are you
Mavericks.
so
What the
who?
hell?
Oh, you so that's right. You're in Texas, right,
Damn.
Jimmy? Are you in
Yeah.
Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I have to. Warriors. They have to do it. They have to come back
I
this
know.
year. They have to. And besides, you know what? I am not a Jason Kidd fan.
Really?
No, I am never.
Why?
I've
I'm
never.
curious.
I've never liked Jason. No, no.
Is it because of his attitude? Because I remember he was a really arrogant player.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's it. That's it.
I get it.
But we shall see.
All right, you have a good one.
So,
I'm about to start my show.
thank
So
you.
I'll see you
All
later.
right. Bye. Frankie, thank you so much for coming. And I love your new sign language. I love your new sign language logo. Tuttles, thank you. VP, thank you. Thank you for popping in. Power Girl, thank you. This is my Friday music. I know this is different from my Monday through Thursday music. And for anyone over on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, thank you for watching. If you were there, thank you. And thanks for hanging out and just listening to the rest of the music.
Beats only for you. Do you know you are everything? You're the flowers of the spring. You're full moon in the dark. You're my heart and my soul. Do you know you are everything?
Thank you. Enjoy your evening, everyone. Bye.